You know how much it takes to make a game? How many hours you have to put in a project that probably will give you nothing back. So, think before leaving a bad review. You know when you boot up a game and after about 10 minutes you're still wondering, what I'm even supposed to do here? It's like being dropped in the middle of IKEA without a map. Today, we're talking about game goals, why they matter, how to make them clear, and why leaving players guessing is usually a one-way ticket to rage quits and bad Steam reviews. You know, every game needs a sense of purpose. Goals are what turn a pile of mechanics into an actual experience. Without them, even the best mechanics feel hollow. Think of classic platformers like Super Mario Bros. The moment you start, you know the goal. Move right, avoid enemies, reach the flag. Simple, but clear. Compare that to some poorly designed indie games where you're wandering in a cool-looking world, but nobody told you why you're there. Players shouldn't need a degree to enjoy your game. Clear goals do a few things. They motivate players to keep going, they help with learning curves, because goals tell you what skills you should be developing. And they give you a sense of reward when you achieve them, even if it's something small like collecting coins or beating a mini-boss. There's also a psychological angle. According to game design theory, especially self-determination theory, players crave competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Goals give players competence. They know what they need to get better at. Without that, the experience can feel like spinning wheels in mud. But not all goals are created equal. Some are immediate, like find a key to open that door. Others are big picture, like save the princess in Super Mario Bros. Both are important, and they need to work together. Short-term goals are like snacks. They give players a quick win, keep them engaged, and teach them mechanics. Collect 5 gems, survive this wave, unlock a new weapon. They are the breadcrumbs that lead the player forward. Long-term goals are the meal. They are what give the journey weight. Beat the final boss, solve the mystery, escape the planet. These goals keep players invested for hours, days, or even months in some games. Balancing these two goals is critical. Too many short-term goals without a bigger picture and your game feels a bit shallow. Too much focus on the long term without clear steps, and players get lost or bored. It's about layering them, so the player always feels guided without being spoon-fed. Here's where a lot of games stumble. Communicating goals doesn't always mean dumping a giant wall of text on the screen. Players usually hate that. At least, I do. Nobody wants to read a novel when they just started the tutorial. Instead, goals should be communicated naturally. Show, don't tell. In Half-Life 2, you're guided forward through the environment, not by big glowing arrows, but by level design. In Dark Souls, you learn what to do through trial, observation, and subtle hints. There are a few common tools developers use. Tutorials that teach mechanics through gameplay instead of menus. Environmental cues like lighting or enemy placement that subtly push player forward. Clear UI elements like quest logs or markers when the game's complexity requires it. The trick is to balance clarity with immersion. You don't want to hold the player's hand the entire time, but you also don't want them to rage quit because they missed the one VOG instruction. A simple test. If you put your game in front of a new player and they say, I don't know what to do here, you've got some work to do. I've seen a lot of common pitfalls, and honestly, I've made these myself. One is assuming players already think like you, the developer. You've been living inside this game's world for months or probably years, so it all makes sense to you. But to a new player, it doesn't. Another mistake is overloading players with too many objectives at once. If everything feels important, nothing does. Players need hierarchy. Primary goals should be obvious, with optional side goals layered in for extra flavor. Then there's the classic mystery goal. Some developers think it's clever to keep players in the dark. And sure, mystery can be powerful, but only when it's used intentionally. Games like Outer Wilds do this well. It's about exploration. So the lack of clear direction is the design. But if your farming sim leaves players wondering if they're supposed to farm, fish, or fight demons, you might have a problem. And lastly, there's the problem of shifting goals too often. If you change the win condition halfway through without foreshadowing, players feel betrayed. Nobody likes feeling like the rules were written behind their back. So, how do you actually design goals that keep players hooked? Listen, I'm not the boss of game goals, and my advices will not make your game understandable for the players. But I can give you some advice based on my research I've made and the mistakes I keep making. First one, tie them to your core mechanics. If your game is about building, then make construction goals central. If it's about combat, then victories in battle should push progression forward. Second one, give feedback. Players need to know they're making progress. That could be as simple as a progress bar, or as complex as new abilities unlocking over time. The important part is that goals feel achievable and rewarding. Third, play test like crazy. Watch how real players interact with your game. Don't explain anything to them, just observe. If they get lost or confused, it's probably not their fault. It's your design. Iteration is your best friend here. Although there are some players that really don't understand the goal of the game. Sometimes I feel to be one of them. And finally, think about your own experience as a player. What games inspired you? Which ones kept you up at 2 a.m. because you just had to complete one more mission? For me, it was Celeste. Use those feelings as a compass. Players don't remember perfect balanced spreadsheets. They remember how a game made them feel. And goals are a huge part of that emotional journey. Goals matter because they give meaning to your mechanics. They should exist on both short and long timelines. They need to be communicated clearly, but without nagging the player. And if you avoid the common mistakes, like assuming players know what you know, you'll create a much more engaging experience. But the most important thing is that no one has the perfect advice for your game. Always be critical, because if something has worked great in a game, it doesn't mean it will work in yours. Now I want to hear from you. What's a game that you think did goals really well? Or one that left you totally confused? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And like always, thanks for watching.